Hi, welcome to Convos and Coffee. Hello. Having a little technological difficulties today, but hi everyone. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to give you a minute to join from everywhere. I'm so excited to see you all today and to get to talk today about so many things that are going on. But I also have a very special guest. So you cinephiles out there are going to be very happy. But a incredible human filmmaker, producer. Oh my gosh, he's a prolific producer and director of television and film and movies like one of my favorite movies, Precious, which I saw a few times in the theater and then fell in love with him and his work, and films like The Butler, The United States versus Billie Holiday, and now he has a new movie coming out, which he's going to maybe tell us a little bit about. But he's also a friend and a really, really wonderful human, and I'm going to invite him. His name is Lee Daniels. Those of you that know. And those of you that don't, he's a legend. So here we go. Hold on, let me add Lee. Up now. Hi, Lee, are you there? But otherwise, I hope everyone is doing great. I am. Oh, there he is.
I don't know how to. I'm so bad at this, Sash.
Lee, can I tell you something? I am not that much better, but I'm learning to be. But one of the things I like about this platform is that we can connect with so many people from all over the world, which show up, and we can have these kind of casual conversations and sort of like check in with each other on this in this very sort of casual way. But I kind of love that. But yes, technology is, what it is. Lee, I'm so happy to see you, and you look very, very handsome for a man who just had COVID. So are you feeling better?
I am back on my feet. Today's the first day. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm telling my IG person, how do I do that? Because he says I should go live too. How do I do that? I don't know.
How do you do that? Hold on, let's learn that.
Really, it's all new. You look great.
Thank you. I feel great.
Where are you?
Thank you. Well, I'm here in LA enjoying this beautiful weather. We're so happy to be here. We traveled, most of the summer, as I told you, and then got back here, and the weather is just divine. And I'm really enjoying just being home. And, I'm getting my daughter ready for college. I'm moving her in a month to back east.
Where?
Brown.
Wow, that's nice. It's really nice. Very chic.
Yes.
Very chic.
Yes. So she's super excited. She had, it's such a bloodbath getting into these schools and doing all this. So it's, she worked really, really hard. We're very proud of her. But I'm also, as a parent,
Yes, it's really, I know. It's hard though. And one thing, it'll hit you 2 months in, Sash. It'll hit you 2 months in when you think, wait, what just happened? What just happened? And then it's about really finding your relationship. Almost you renew that relationship with your partner. It's a cleanse. It's really interesting. It's an interesting sort of, I'm curious to find out. Hit me up 2 months after.
Okay. It does feel a little bit, I always say this about loss when we lose somebody, that you don't get hit right away. There's these waves, and I say loss meaning, they've moved to the other side and they're no longer with us. So when my father passed, I remember not feeling it all right away, but a year later, I would check my phone, I'd see his name, and I would feel this profound pain and heartbreak. And this is not that. But they are moving on to this next phase of their life. So as a parent, you are holding on, but I'm also so proud of her. I'm also can't wait for her to just, do her thing. It's time for her to go. It's all of that. So I'm excited, but then I'm going to miss seeing her as much. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, so we're doing great, and we're all actually we're sort of enjoying every one of these moments and days right now before she goes. But we've all been watching the Olympics every night. Have you been watching? No?
Is that un-American of
Oh
me?
my gosh, Lee! It's so incredible. Like if you even today when we're off today, watch the women's gymnastic finals. I mean,
Go ahead.
it's the most inspiring, life affirming.
Is
These
it?
people are.
Okay, but so
Oh.
here's the thing. But I had COVID though, Sasha. I had COVID, so give me a break.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm just like I'm not really into sports. But I guess the Olympics really don't count as sports. They're the Olympics.
Well, they do count as sports.
I mean, I don't know.
They don't count as sports. It's all just sports. No, they do count as sports. But what I like that they're doing is they're doing all these little vignettes where they tell you about the person, the athlete. So right before they're doing some, like they had men's gymnastics last night. Our team has not won a medal since like 1990 something. I mean, it's been a 16-year drought. And so last night they got this team together, and they're really were pumped to show their stuff. So they did these vignettes to show what the different athletes have gone through to get to this moment. So by the time you're watching them on the vault or whatever, you are completely invested in their journey, and it's just beautiful. It's really great. Like it doesn't matter how they do.
So, okay, you got me.
Okay, so you gotta watch it.
But is that new? I think this is a new thing. They haven't done that before, have they?
I mean, they did a version of it, but I feel like they've kind of mastered it now, and now they're really good at the way that they do it. I feel is just, I don't know. It just really works. Everyone's doing great. I think it's beautiful, and it's in Paris. Like, why aren't we there?
I know.
Like, why aren't we there?
Well,
Even if you don't like sports, why aren't we there?
Well, no, I do. There's something about the Olympics. When I say that it transcends sports, it really, to me, it's about. I don't know. It's for me. It's not about sports. It's about the Olympics. There's a big difference between sports. I mean, I guess they are the same, but yeah. There's something about America. Go America. Go America. Go America.
You know what? I feel like, listen, they're showing everybody, and I have to tell you, given all the madness in the world and the divide and everything that's happening, I actually think it's been quite beautiful to just see people come together. And frankly, as my husband said, who can be quite has his moments of just, he comes out with these things, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. He looked at it and he said, if people weren't so stuck in their own little minds, they would see how beautiful the world is. And in these moments when we see the world and these countries and just come together and how hard everyone has worked, frankly, it's I just think it's beautiful to see so many different people from all over the world come together and do that. So that's the best part of it.
So Sasha, here's thing. I'm trying to pay attention to you because I am paying attention to you, but I also am looking at the little comments that are coming up here.
Where is Star?
So I have this incredible writer that's writing it, and it's just been a journey, that one. I didn't really want it to go off the air. I didn't want it to go off the air, and they yanked it off the air. And just as I was getting my groove on, it's such. I didn't know that it would resonate so much to the world. And I go into these grocery stores, and these angry ladies go, "You took my show off the air." Like I thought it was all about Empire. Like Empire was the big Kahuna, you know what I mean? But everybody's really obsessed with Star.
For those of you that don't know, because somebody just wrote, who is this Star? Star was a wonderful television series that Lee produced, and yes,
I created it. It was my version of Dreamgirls meets Paris is Burning meets Valley of the Dolls meets bringing Black people and white people and Republicans and Democrats and everybody together. Is sort of what that was about. And it was a musical. So it was, it was this wild and crazy sort of world that came from my heart and came from my soul. And I did not know that it was going to resonate the way it did. And Fox took it off the air, and that really hurt me. So we are working really hard. I'm working incredibly hard with this incredible writer to bring it back, and it's coming back. So just calm down, people. Calm down.
Calm down.
It's coming. It's coming. Meanwhile, I'm working on other things. So it's.
You're working on so many things. Like, actually, we don't have enough time to get into everything because I have a million things that we
Thank you.
need to talk about.
Love Fires and Positive. It is coming back. If it's only for a movie, a pilot, a one shot, it'll be just that. So hopefully you guys will tune in, and the studio will make it a series. But right now it's coming back for just one episode.
So, Lee, one of the things that I want to ask you about, first of all, I want to take a moment to talk about however much you want to tell us, but you have a new movie that's hitting the theaters and Netflix this month because it's now August, right? So, The Deliverance.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that experience and whatever else you want to tell us about it. But I want to preface by saying that Lee, you started in casting, or no?
I started in casting. Yeah, I started in casting.
So when that little kernel of passion, that thing that lit in you to want to tell stories actually in film and so forth, like, what was that moment that sort of like you had that confidence to go from I'm going to do this to I'm going to like put this, I'm going to make this a reality?
I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. I was 8 years old and I walked into the public library and God pointed me into the theater section. It was my first time in the library. I walked into the theater section and I saw a book, and on it, Liz Taylor and Richard Burton were on it. It was a black and white cover of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. The cover looked fascinating to me. I opened it up, I read it, I was fascinated by it. I don't know how it was that I understood the play. Yeah. I took it home on my stoop, and I had all my cousins and my friends play Martha and George, and so I didn't know, because there really weren't African American directors. There weren't African American directors at that time, for the most part. There was nobody to look up to, or someone that I could say, okay, this is what I want to do. I didn't even know what a director was or a writer was. I didn't know. I knew what a writer was, but not in this medium. And I started directing my friends and my cousins and my relatives, and I didn't know what that was. So I locked that away, and I didn't really know what it was that I wanted to do. I knew that was special to me, and then I came to Hollywood many years later, and again, there wasn't anybody. It was pre-Spike Lee. It was post the Black exploitation era, so there was really nothing for an African American.
Wow.
And so I said, well, let me figure out how to do this. And so I didn't know. I was directing theater in Baldwin Hills, and in these little in these little churches and storefront places, and then I sort of got from casting. I got into it as a fluke by casting, and then from casting I went from casting to management, because I was directing actors and the actors weren't able to get work. Black actors at that time were not able to get work, and so I managed a bunch of people, Loretta Devine, a whole lot of wonderfully talented actors that were only getting, at that time, pimps and drug dealers and drug addicts, and they perceived us in a certain way. So I felt like it was my duty to take it on and say, hey, no, we can play doctors, we can play nurses, we can play lawyers, we can play judges, we can be presidents. And so I sort of fought that fight, and simultaneously, and then so when the actors were on set, it's when I sort of learned firsthand what a set was about and how to direct. So I sort of forged my way into directing just by looking at the set. So I wanted to direct. My first movie was Monsters Ball, and I wanted to direct it, but I didn't know how to hold a camera.
And
So
but you produced Monsters Ball.
I was the sole producer of it. I was going to direct
Amazing.
it, but I didn't know how to direct. I mean, I knew how to direct, but I didn't know how to direct film. And so I hired this first-time director. I saw a short film of his, Mark Forrester, and I said, okay, I want you to, you're the vision. I like what you're doing here. But I was getting in his way and telling Hallie what I wanted and Heath Ledger what I wanted. I put my friends in the film, Billy Bob Thornton and Puffy. We're not talking about Puffy right now, but he was, I don't know. Then. And Mos Def. And so that was my first experience with producing. And then I didn't even know that Halle Berry was going to become the first African American to win an Academy Award. I thought that was it. I thought, okay, that's it. Doesn't get any better than this. Okay, good. Now, and so I really thought that that was the end. And then I continued on, and I got the courage to finally direct my first film, which was a flop. But it was a flop commercially, but I thought it was artistically something. I was me, and then Precious came along. I was going to give up, and I didn't give up. Precious came along, and then The Butler.
Did you remind me, because I know we've had this conversation, because I am an absolute obsessive lover of Precious. I saw it in the theaters a couple of times. When we got to meet through our dear friend Hillary Shore,
Hollywood.
I had said to her, oh my gosh, I might not be able to talk. I think she sat us together at one of our birthday or something. And I just was so, and I'll tell you why I so connect with the way that you work, and that I'm such a fan of the way you work. But was that something that you built from the ground up? Like, was it your idea, or did a script come to you for that?
No, it was a book, and the book was called Push by Sapphire. And she did not want it to be a film. It was so personal to her. And I stalked her forever to flip it into a script, and then inevitably, and then to get it financed. But I knew the story so intimately because so many of my friends, when I was a kid, I remember this girl that lived down the street from me. She was, I was 8 or 9, about the same time I knew that what I wanted to do. This little girl came to my house, and she was naked, completely naked. She had been beaten. There was blood dripping from her. And my mother we had never seen anything like that before. My mother wrapped her in a sheet and brought her in, and Angie was her name. And it was the first time that I looked at her, and I felt her. I felt that this little child she was beaten, and by her mom. And I'd never felt anything like that before. It was such I understood her, and I wanted to tell her story. Yeah, I wanted to tell her story. It was close to my heart. I had been abused, but not that way. I had been abused. We had been beaten, but this girl was broken. She was broken. And I wanted to tell her story, and so Precious. But I also wanted to keep it light and keep it fun and keep it, with the fantastical, with the dreams and everything. So that was, it's just me. It was. I wanted to do something. I didn't think that as African Americans, we don't get a chance to really. We don't get those chances. We don't get those wild chances that white people get in Hollywood. And so I really wanted to throw the dice hard against the wall. And I think that's what happens when you dare to dream, Sasha, because I dared to dream big with that one.
And that brings me to something I want to that I feel about your work, but also you, is like these stories about your childhood, your life, stories that you've collected along the way, sort of have been curated and I feel like you have this intuitive directing, let's call it. And intuitive directing, how it's like you trust that your version of that thing, whether it's drawn from real life or people you've met or your ability to look at human beings and say, this is a story I haven't seen and I would like to put that in something, or all those pieces. Like, how did you get confident in this kind of intuitive directing? Because your performances that you get from your actors are not performances. Like, they are performances from literally the inside, the absolute gut out. I have said, even to our friend Hillary very early on, I said, as an actor, I would give my left arm to work with somebody like Lee, because you know what? He doesn't let you get away with it. He probably sits you down. He makes you very uncomfortable. He literally digs into your guts. He tells you, he does this thing, and you can either roll with it or you can't roll with it. Some actors don't want to roll with it. You know that,
I know.
right? They don't want to go there.
It's so funny.
But then there's brilliant actors that they just don't want that experience of having to do that. And so I said to her, to me, that's what great performances are born out of, is a person seeing that thing in you and being able to really click into that and pull that out, and whatever that is that you create. That's how you take things to the next level. You've done that. You do that in every single film. And I want to talk about Deliverance. But I see it. I see it in what you did with Andra Day and Billie Holiday. Like, my gosh, I mean, she never acted. She's a musician. And here she is nominated for an Oscar. So you have a way of seeing and trusting and going there. And I really love it. But how do you, is it just strictly your intuition on the person, or is there a way in? What does it start with?
This is what I think. I think that, I've seen birth, people brought into this world, and I've seen so much death and then so much carnage. I was a kid. I go back to my childhood. When I was a kid, I watched my best friend shot when I was 6 and dying in front of me. I watched in my teens, so many of my good friends die of AIDS, and before we knew what it was. And so when you watch people go out of this world and leave this place, and you see birth, you know the truth. And so I don't tolerate anything but the truth when I'm in the moment, and when I'm working with an artist. I love actors. You don't understand. I'm just like, I love actors, and actors that trust me. It's a crazy thing, and then I feel bad for the actor that trusts me, because I said, oh God, what am I? They're willing, it's they're crazy for trusting me, because I'm not all there sometimes, and so I bring my past to my present and to the situation that I'm trying to create, and I instinctively know when an actor is not being present, and when an actor is not being honest, and when an actor is not in the moment. And I think that a lot of my work is inspired by Cassavetes, and like my early, I just remember wanting to see honesty on screen, and we don't get to see that on screen. So I don't do well with camera work. I don't pretend to do well with the edit of it all. I hire a great team around me that really knows what they're doing. I know how to work with an instrument, how to work with the actor, and that's my gift, I think, from God.
And you know what? And I so appreciate that and relate to that, as so many people do that watch your films. And I always thought that that's what the great directors did do, right? They could work with that instrument. Then we got into sort of modern day technology and, stories that are, not to pick on, superhero movies, but it's just not about that. It's about other things. So it's a completely different thing, but I so appreciate that. I
And
have a
some people can't
so,
listen. Some people, a lot of people, a lot of white critics, a lot of critics, men that don't understand my world, come for me. You know, they don't understand it, and I don't expect them to. You know, unless you have been hungry, or you had to steal food for your family to eat, or you have seen your friends killed, or you've seen all of your friends die of AIDS.
yeah.
Unless you walked in my shoes, you can't possibly understand the world that I'm in. You don't know how I think. You don't know how I feel. But I think artists, for the most part, actors, do. They feel. They know how to feel, and they know how to emote their feelings, which is the reason why I love them.
But you know, and you and I have had a lot of discussions on like black and white issues and how, you know, a black experience and maybe a white person doesn't see something and doesn't necessarily understand the depth of that experience because they didn't go to, but that said, I think at the end of the day, when your movies travel the way your movies do, and whether that is born out of your experience, a specific black experience of something,
It's universal. It's universal, though. It's so universal.
It really is.
It's so universal.
Yeah, and more, I think that, you know, if people are not, back to what even Eduardo said, the world is beautiful and the world is difficult and the world is ugly and the world is chaotic and messy. And, you know, people have the right to have the, you know, right to watch what they want that makes them feel okay. But you live in the messy. You live in that. And so to me, that is universal. And so what I love about that is that I think you were able to take, and I think that's what initially attracted me to Precious, was here is this very, very heartbreaking characters in a heartbreaking reality and story. But somehow we were able to see it, open our hearts to it, feel, invite it in a way that didn't feel like total torture, you know, because it's hard to do difficult, dramatic films in a time when sometimes we watch the news and it's all sad. And so where do you balance like entertainment and telling stories that are real, but that we can feel all these things? And so I do feel like it's really universal, and you are really great at that. And
thank you, Sasha.
You are.
Thank you so much.
You know, I'm a big fan. But I want to talk about, so that leading us into difficult things, scary. The Deliverance, your new movie, is scary as shit. I mean, that trailer is terrifying. First of all, you have four of the most incredible actresses. You have Andra Day, who we love. You have Glenn Close. You have Monique, and you have Ingenue Ellis, who most recently, as you all, I hope you have all seen, and you know my love for Origin and how wonderful she was in that, but many movies. But I did a pilot with her so many years ago, one of her first pilots, and she was such a different, young, we were in our like 20s, and I just adored her. And it's been such an amazing thing to watch her grow as a woman, as an actor. She's phenomenal. So you have these four amazing women. I know you have a lot of other actors in it, but this movie is scary. Like, this is like Exorcist territory. Like, what got you in this? How did you decide to do this?
I didn't want to, it was given to me a while ago, a long time ago, after I did Precious, but I felt that it was, I felt that because I believe in this stuff, and I believe that spirits, good and bad, jump on you. Do you?
Yes, I do, 100%.
Okay, so I didn't want to.
Which is why I'm scared of it.
Right.
It scares me because I do believe in it. I do believe there's good and evil. I do believe that there's spirits in homes. Yeah. I do believe that I had an ancestral healer on this show with me, and he completely believes that we have generational, not just trauma, but we have.
Okay, hold on. Did you tape it? Because I'm going to go and watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, I can watch it?
Yeah.
I can go back and watch it? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because I'm fascinated. So, no, I believe in it, so I did want to do it, and I realized that we are in such Sasha, we are in such dark times. I met with the President Biden a while ago. Well, okay, even prior to meeting with the president, I do things because my spirit tells me you got to do it. You got to. I'm always, if you really study my work, it's a little ahead of its time. Where it was like, wait, what? Why are we watching? Oh, I know now why we're watching this. And so with this one, I thought it was a horror movie, but it is a horror movie, but it really is about finding your higher power. For me, we are in dark times. For me, I don't know. Look it. I just met with the president not long ago, and there was a group of us meeting with him, and we said, you know, why aren't you out here? This is when Biden was running for president, and he couldn't get the black vote. And we were saying, why aren't you out here telling people what you're doing for African Americans? He says, because I'm trying to stop nuclear war. It was very real. He says, because most of my time is spent trying to stop nuclear war. And I realized this is the reason why I did this film, because I am scaring you to find your higher power. I'm scaring you to find your higher power, because we don't have time to play with tomorrow. You better find peace, and you better find your higher power now. And so mine is Jesus Christ. I'm not scaring you to Jesus Christ, but I'm scaring you to your higher power. And so that was the purpose of the film. And it really wasn't about horror necessarily, but it is horror. And
it's not horror. I don't think it's. I know it's considered that genre, but that's why I say scary. It's like scary to people because it's terrifying.
Real.
But I find this stuff more terrifying. Like,
well,
I don't want to watch Friday the 13th. I'm not like a slasher horror person. But this is terrifying to me.
It's a true story of possession. It happened. All of it happened, and yeah. And so I just wanted the story to be told. I thought, and then I it's just personal. I really wanted you. I hope everybody enjoys it as much as I enjoyed it.
So
I
let
really
me ask you this: working on this genre,
it's like you know, it's like for me, I was scared with The Exorcist. I haven't seen anything that scared me since The Exorcist. I got to be as scared as I was with The Exorcist. I'm not here to jump scare you and to scare you. Ooh, you know, this is something that you should feel in your bones when you leave.
Well, I believe that it's the Andra Day character. I'm not sure, but whoever the woman is that has the physical in the trailer, one of the trailers, where we see her from the back and she is kind of contorting. That's like literally, I was like, I need to watch this in the daytime. But here's my question. Working on something like that, where every day, and particularly with these stellar actors who are so deep and connected, and obviously probably staying in the, you know, in the characters. I know Ingenue and some people, like they stay in. I've never done a movie like that, and my fear would always be that I would just be carrying it with me. So was it exhausting going in, or did it get exhausting just having to live in that throughout the process of of making it?
Sasha, it's really scary, because what happened, I had people praying on the set every day.
Okay.
Because my sister, for example, Glenn Close has cancer in the film, and so we shot in a chemo. I put my sister in every movie she's my good luck charm. I put my sister in the chemo scene. The next day, she was diagnosed with lung cancer.
What?
My dog died. All sorts of weird things happened.
I'm so sorry. I did not know. Is she okay?
You know, she's hanging in there. She's thugging it out. But it's just like it's the things that the devil is real, evil spirits are real, and so you carry this around. I just wanted it to be done. Once I realized that, oh God, what am I doing? What have I committed to this time, Lee Daniels? You know, it was like, what have I got it done? And but I think it's important. I had to go through hell to get to the other side.
Yeah, Lee, I feel that, and sometimes there was something that it was a television series that I was offered to do that lives in this kind of world for very long periods of time, and I am a spiritual person, and I really felt that it would have been a destructive choice for not just myself but my family and my children to carry that every single day. Like in a
You're
movie, at
an
least.
artist. You're an art. No, you're an
I
artist.
know, but in a
And
television show all the time, in
you did
TV.
the right thing. You did the right
Yeah,
thing.
like, no, but in a movie, it's different because, yes, as painful as it can be living with it, and for you as a filmmaker, you lived with it for what, 2 years of your life. But like the set, the shooting was what, a few months?
Yes, but it lingers with you. It's like this residue. You can't shake it. And that's why I said, okay, I'm going to go into hey, calm down, dogs. I'm going to do a comedy, I think. Something, because to me, that's scary. I don't know how to make people laugh. And like that to me, you know, and also as a creative, like, you know, I just don't want to be done. I want to do superhero movies. I want to do things that make me uncomfortable as an artist. And so, you know, I'm thinking about like, as much as I didn't want to do this, because there's a special pacing intention that I'd never experienced before as a filmmaker that I had to go through to make the film. Why not do a comedy next or something, a romantic comedy?
Yeah.
I don't know whether
I mean, listen,
you know,
if you're making Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't think you're going to have people praying on the set about, you know, but I do think that the praying is so important because we do open these portals to this stuff. And when we're sensitive people, as you are, as I am, and we're empathic and we feel, we invite this stuff in and we have to do what we need to do to kind of let it out. But I think what's important about you doing it and why you said you wanted to do it is I agree with you. I think that people need to lean into their faith, whatever that is, like as long as it is not destructive to other people. Like lean into what that is for you. And because if we don't have that grounding as individuals and as a community, what's the world? Like what is it? You know, we are in dark times. Like the fact that we are not focused on certain things that just bring us joy. Like one of the things I like about the Olympics is people are just joyful. They worked hard, they come together. It's joy, it is light. Like we have both, but it really right now, I feel like everyone's lost sense of, they don't trust anything anymore. They don't believe in anything. Like nobody believes the TV, the media, nothing.
Why do you think that though?
Well, I have my theories, but I don't want to get massively political in this conversation, only because we have a very international.
That's a private call, okay, girl? That's a private call.
I'll call you and I'll tell you exactly what I think. But I do think, let's just say.
Wait a second. Where are the dogs? Over here. Don't let them outside. No. Okay. Sorry.
I just think that, and we're not going to point fingers, but I do think that when think about it this way, we've had children. When you're in a classroom in kindergarten and there's one kid that's being a bully, that's got mean words, that has the character and charisma to be able to go, you're fat, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, and he points, what happens to that classroom? Everybody is infected. It's not just that the kid gets in trouble and gets kicked out. No. The kid begins to rise and that infection and virus grows amongst people, and all of a sudden kids copy that person, they behave like that person until they get in trouble. So everyone, human nature is that we test and we push. And I feel like people are pushing. They're trying on different codes to say, you know what, I can get away with this. So and I'm not even talking about what people's point of view and opinion is on things. I'm just saying it is human nature, and we have now been infected. We are in a moment of like a viral load that needs to be cleaned out. People need to just like, that's why I really, in my day and in this, my goal and intention with this is to connect and listen and stay open to conversation, to people's points of view, to not just believe everything that's thrown at us. Social media is nuts. Poor kids are, it's an epidemic of depression. Why? These kids are staring at this information. It's all negative. So I feel like there's a lot that's contributed to that. And I just think we all have to, as you said, really lean into our faith in finding light wherever we can, and helping
really
promote
hard. I mean, it's really hard to find the light. it becomes harder and harder to find the light in this toxic world that we're living in. It's crazy.
Yes, but I don't want to believe that, because even though we all have individual struggles, okay, we all do. We've all gone, everybody has their struggle. The level of that struggle differs for all of us, right? And what we came from, just like you're talking about, things that you went through as a kid, I may not have gone through, I went through other things. But if we come from the place that everyone has a struggle, and we talk about Christianity, okay? And we have politicians throwing out that word. What does that mean? That means that you love, that you want people to be healthy and well and joyful and living their best lives. Like, to me, that's what that means. So why isn't everyone wishing that for everybody? And the only way that you can do that is by loving people, by hugging people, and by hoping to use, whatever your storytelling or whatever it is, to be able to bring people together. Even if it's stories like the one you're telling, I think sometimes it's important because, as you said, it makes people think about the evil in the world and so forth. I'm getting existential, but all I want to say is that we can't get into, why and what, but we know what's out there. We know that there's people just throwing out negativity because they can.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. But what do we have to keep doing our part. And you know what, I want to say that it is harder to believe in it, but we need to. It's like, it's a must. We have to.
And we will. I believe ultimately in the goodness of people, because everybody is somebody's baby, was somebody's child.
Yeah.
And I think we all have good in us. It's because of that bully, that one person that we saw, that we are the way we are. And it's hard for me to say. I wake up with chaos and I have to stay still. I have to pray. I've got to meditate. I'll immediately wake up to the negative. When you've been bullied, and I've been bullied because I'm gay and everything. Part of that lives in my work too. But when you think, you get up, and your knee jerk is to think negatively, and it takes a minute to think the world is not negative. This is all in your head, and the world is a beautiful place, and people are beautiful. Really, people are beautiful.
People are beautiful.
But it takes a minute to let that marinate in your brain. For me, in the morning.
Well, we're going to end on that, because despite all of the difficulty, you, through your stories, through your vision, through your immense talent, you get into these stories, these people, these lives, and you help us see characters that we may not from the surface have related to in a certain way. You let us in, and you let us see their heart and their soul and their humanity. And I thank you for that, because your films have done that for me, and your television shows have done that. So keep doing your thing.
Thank you, Sash. We just have to figure out what we're going to do together. I gotta bring you into the Lee Daniels camp so we can figure out how to have fun together.
I would love anything, but I'm just so happy to have any FaceTime with you. We love you, Eduardo, and I think the world of you. And I'm just so happy you feel better.
Yeah.
And everyone's tuning in this month. When is the movie comes out? August 16th in theaters?
August 16th in theaters, and then worldwide midnight, August the 30th on Netflix. I've never done a movie on Netflix. Never done a movie on Netflix. It was a wild...
this is your first Netflix experience. Oh my gosh, be ready.
I mean, it was crazy, but...
Are we having a party? A midnight? I want to watch. Oh my gosh, it's at midnight, so I won't sleep that night. Okay. I won't sleep. Yeah. I'll watch it at midnight, and then I might as well just stay up. There's no sleeping. Whoa. Okay. All right, we can do that. So we have to have some kind of... That's really cool.
Lily at 13, I'm bringing back Star. Don't you fret, my pet.
I know. Everyone's obsessed with Star. We're still talking about Star.
Yeah, isn't it it's so nice to know that you can affect the world like this. That your thoughts and that your experience in your life, if you dare to dream to bring it to screen or to write it and to put it out in the world, that it affects people like that. It warms my heart. It really does. That so many people love it so much.
Well, and the beautiful thing about, as much as we have so much, so many pluses and minuses with streaming and all that, one of the beautiful things about streaming is that it does go all over the world and people are able to see the stories and they live on, they continue to show over and over. And I think that that's such a huge thing to be able to see the stories go. It's not just one night and it's over, So.
Well,
Okay.
I can't tell you. This was fun. I know how to do a live now.
Yay!
Woohoo!
See, and you look great. You did perfect.
Thank you too, Sash.
Thank you so much. Kiss those doggies.
And give Eduardo a kiss.
I will so much. I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Big kiss to you. Ciao.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Tuning in, everybody.
Thank you.